Good morning, everyone. It is January the 12th, 2016, and we're all waiting with bated breath to hear the President's State of the Union speech tonight, where we will be told how good everything is, how strong the economic recovery is, how bright the future is, and how good all the new changes, proposed changes, that we will get to examine after the fact are going to be for us coming the year 2016 and later on. Biggest news overnight, hard news, was China, Hong Kong raised the margin requirements for the yuan. Now, when a futures contract has made a huge move, when you raise the margin rates, you pretty well put the brakes on that move. Any counter directional move like that creates margin calls, and it takes the over-leveraged and the undercapitalized players out of the game, and it kind of feeds on itself. So I would expect the yuan's going to slow down here for a bit, but the longer-term direction of the yuan is lower as China fights for its economic survival. That was the biggest news overnight. So China's market was up, Japan's was down. The Europe and UK and the United States markets were up off that news, and we'll see if we get follow-through buying from that this morning. Okay, pretty good support starting really at the buck in the 10-year. We have the 3-year auction today. That generally will bring support in. So I really want to be a buyer into weakness this morning off the 10-year. I think this market's going to be controlled by the direction of the ES. And so I think the E-mini is going to try to trade a little bit higher this morning, and probably will. And that should take us lower. So I've got our first buy at 29 to 25. Put a question mark at the buck. Second, 17 through 21. On the sell side, pretty aggressive, 3 to 7, sell 1. 11 to 15, sell 2. Today's news, small business optimism index, it's already out, 95.2. No one trades it. It was forecast to be at 95. Jolts may get a little play. Job openings are expected to be up about 300,000 from previous report at 5.41. Maybe, only 30,000 higher. And then IBD, TIPP, Economic Optimism Index at 47.6. Nobody will pay any attention to that. So our news today, jolts, and the direction of the E-mini. And I think the direction of the E-mini rules. So we got a 3-year auction. I think will bring in some support at some point today. It may come as late as 11:30 Central. But it's hard to move paper when the market's headed down. We've had a couple of auctions where the 2-year and 3-year auctions did take place in lower markets. That's very unusual, but it can happen. So I like the short side first. See if we can test support at 24, 28. And if that holds up, I'd like to be a buyer there. Okay, you see how the selling began in London. That's when the big rally began in the European markets. The European markets are strongly higher. 55 even, 55, so 55.01, 54.29 buy 1. 21 to 17 buy 2. On the sell side, 11 to 15 sell 1. And then we'll make 23, 27 sell 2. And again, because of the 3-year at some point today, I think we find buyers. can get short off the opening because of the strength in the E-mini. Okay, gold. I put an article up this morning. The demand for gold at the retail level. They bought out the entire U.S. mints offering in one day. And the reason this is going to continue is people are scared to death about what's happening with their governments, not only in the United States but around the world. You know, if we lose the United States built-in inherent freedoms and we give them away more and more each year, where can anybody in the world go? And then you bring these people in that are escaping tyranny and oppression and low economic growth into the United States, and what's the first thing they vote for? The same social programs in the benign parts of the world that led them to leave because of economic hardship. And then you're coming from the third world where you don't get any of that kind of help. It's like free or found money. So just like the voters moving from Maryland because tax burden gets too onerous, and they get over to Virginia where it's not, and the first thing they start doing is voting in Maryland blue state policies. It's nuts, but that's what we face today. Okay, gold is lower. Stock markets are up. Risk-off investments are not in favor as far as futures go, so we're reacting to higher stock markets. First buy zone, if we is in this 85 area right here. So this 80 to 85 area, we're just going to open up a little bit. Look for buying, buy one. Then 75, 77, buy two. Market is selling. Very clean break in the market at 91. The spill came from 89, so 89 to 91, sell one. 94, 96, sell two. Okay, well, what's going on in the yuan? We didn't get much of a reaction out of the euro. And again, both the European Central Bank and the People's Bank of China want their respective currencies lower so they can export. China's doing it to maintain market share, as much of it as they can get in a declining economy, and Europe's doing it to gain market share. Both of them are mercantilist economic policies, and they have been, those countries have been that since their birth. Okay, pretty good support in this 108.50 area. You can see it, we're there right now, so we'll 45 to 50, buy one. Then we're going to drop it down to our 15 to 25, buy two. On the sell side, 108.75, sell one. 109, sell two. One of the Fed governors yesterday admitted that, I don't know if he's an ex-governor or not, that the Fed really got it wrong on crude oil. They thought lower crude oil or energy prices would really help the economy. What they didn't count on was a drop from 140 bucks a barrel to now pretty close to 30. What that would do to the oil industry, and we've lost several 100,000 jobs around the globe that were good paying jobs. They weren't minimum wage jobs. Nobody was arguing for 15 bucks an hour. They paid well with full benefits, and that has gone through the economy. It's made it tough. So 30.50 held last night. We did not get stops below 30. I think eventually we will. You can see right here that we got a pretty clean break in the market at 32. We're at 31.48, so perhaps a little more in the rally. So 31.75, 32, sell one. And then if we break through 32, $2 or $3 rally, so 30.50, 32.50 would be $2, 33.50 would be $3. So 32.50, 32.75, sell 2. On the buy side, 31, 30.75, buy 1. May take a 31.25 to get in. We'll put a question mark there. It just depends on how far this short covering rally goes. And then 30.25, 30.50. Actually, I'm going to make it 30.25 for buy 2. I think we get back down close to 30.50. We are going lower. Okay, to the E-mini. The E-mini's definitely been oversold. It is due for a rally. Looked at several technical services, and they think the key number is at 1950, 1960 area. If we can stay below 1950, 1960, it should lead to a test of the 1850 area. If we take out the 1850 area, then it's headed for 1700, or a 20% correction. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. That just means it becomes a part. It's built into the market's thinking and expectations. So we got this K period high right here at 37. The market is pointed higher right now, trying to rally. And I think we will get stops above the overnight session highs. So we're going to make our first sell 39 to 44. Second sell 49 to 54. Picking up this area here. Picking up stops above the overnight session high. First sell is picking up this area. So that's really where our sell 1 is. Sell 2. On the buy side, we broke it out from 20. We're at 32. Got volume at 27. So 26, 21 will be buy 1. And then 16 to 11 will be buy 2. I think we're going to try to trade it up a little bit and find out where resistance is. And that's usually the case when the market starts to correct. And they usually will take out that first resistance level. So we will see if that happens today. The rally got started with crude oil, so if crude oil rallies with some strength today, I imagine that the E-mini can gain strength from that too, if the premise is correct. That's what rallied crude oil. Or the terrorist attack in Turkey makes equities go up. There was a cynical column or comments written about how terrorist attacks are bullish for the stock market. That's kind of a stretch if you think about it, but again, really no news to talk about. JOLTS expected at 5.41 million. The Small Business Optimism Index is out, and the IBD TIPS Optimism Index is at 47.6, and no one will pay any attention to that. Going to take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. I will be back with you as soon as possible.